Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is trusting the process. And we're fortunate to have with us to talk about trusting the process, Jordan Haney, who will give us some information in reference to his background, education, and some of the things that were important in your life, Jordan, and lead to us this morning. And then we'll talk about other things dealing with trusting the process. But before we get into that, we want some information dealing with your background, your education, and some of your experiences. And then we'll be able to move through this first segment and get into the second segment of the show this morning. Let's do it from that perspective.
Of course. Pleasure to be here, Dr. Haney. My name is Jordan Haney. Happen to be your grandson. Pleased to be here. Watched your show many of times, and it's exciting to be in the front of the camera this time. Before we start talking about trusting the process, I'm just going to give a few details upon my background. 22 years old, from South Nashville, born on March 7th, 1995. I'm one of four children. Grew up with my mom, South Nashville area, and attended Granbury Elementary. From that time, it was all fun and games. You know, playground, video games, come home, do homework, things like that. You know, everything was precious and carefree. Fast forward, maybe middle school, 5th grade, I attended Wharton Middle School, what we now know as Robert Churchwell, on DB Tide. That was a bit of a transition for me. I made the transition to a new school. As well as a new school, I transitioned households from my mother to my father. Now, I made this transition, as my father would say, to learn how to be a man, you know. So it presented its challenges and hardships for me. I remember having to catch the MTA bus every morning from Antioch, and I'd catch it downtown, and then I'd commute from downtown to the school. So it was definitely challenging and required a lot of discipline to get up early and constantly make that schedule, don't miss that bus. 5th grade, it was cool, you know, got into a little trouble, knuckleheads, you know, I'm just learning. Fast forward, next year, 6th grade, I switched schools again. I went to Thurgood Marshall. Thurgood Marshall was just opening that year, so I was there for the inaugural year, you know. Thurgood Marshall had me in my zoned area of Antioch, and so I kind of built a relationship with kids in my neighborhood. We all went to the same school, and it was one of my first times riding the yellow bus to school, and as opposed to the MTA or car riding. And that was, you know, pleasant. But fast forward, I move again on to East Literature Magnet, 7th grade. And I made this move particularly due to my dad's situation being a teacher at Meigs Middle School, which is fairly close to East Literature. And also, I did not get into Meigs Magnet School. I did get into East, and I found me a home there. I was at East Literature from 7th grade up until my high school graduation. And I would say that East Literature taught me a lot about being a man, molding me into the man I am today. I was heavily into sports, track and cross country. I was very interested in sports medicine. Once I realized I would not be able to make it to the next level playing sports, I decided I still wanted to somehow be involved within the field, you know. So East Literature taught me a lot, like I said, and senior year, going into graduation, I started narrowing down my college choices: University of Tennessee, Chattanooga, Tennessee State University, Austin Peay. And I narrowed it down, and I came to terms that I would attend Tennessee State. So freshman year, 2013, I'm at Tennessee State. It was a challenge.
And as a matter of fact, what we want to do is to not only appreciate the information that you've given us so far, But what we want to do is to close this segment. We've got about 30 seconds before we close this segment, and talk about Tennessee State University, your odyssey at Tennessee State University when we come back. And we've got about 8 minutes to deal with this second segment, and I think that will be adequate in time to use all of the time to talk about some of the things that happened to you at Tennessee State University. And we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break. You're good. You're knocking it out of the field. Yeah, you're articulate and whatever, and you seem to know what you're talking about, and you look good on camera too. Yeah, you look good on camera too. But now keep your foot under there and keep still or whatever. And see, you know you're on the B team. You know, because Lonnie's on the A team, boy. She come down there, she knocked these things out, man. Yeah. You know, she from the first one that she did, she knocked it out. Mm-hmm. And people say I always just be looking at. Thank you and welcome back to the second segment of the show for today. We're talking to Jordan Haney, who's given us some information in reference to his background, education, and some of his earlier experiences. And Jordan, I think the last time we left, we talked about you're going to Tennessee State University. And I think that would be an excellent place to start in reference to this second segment, giving you an opportunity of about 8 minutes to talk about some of the things that happened to you at Tennessee State University and how you became involved with various things and et cetera, how you eventually grew at Tennessee State University. Do it from that perspective.
Yes. So Tennessee State University provided a lot of insight on my life. Coming out of East Literature Magnet, I was a very smart guy, but I didn't apply myself as well as I could have looking back. So I just did enough to get by. That carried on into Tennessee State. So, you know, me being from the Nashville area, I grew up around Tennessee State, homecomings, football games. It was nothing new to me. So I was never on campus. I was always out, friends, hanging, you know, the college life. And that so correlated to not so well grades. I was not studying. And so from there, I had to make the transition to Nashville State Community College the next year. I came to terms with myself and my family. We decided that it would be a better move, a smaller institution. There were no recreational areas. There were no teams, no games, no nothing.
No distractions in a real sense.
Nothing. It was go to school, do your work, come home. And I think I grew from that. I really enjoyed Nashville State. I got more of a one-on-one connection with my professors, a smaller learning environment, and I think that helped me going to my next stage, which was ultimately taking a break from college. I decided to work full-time and kind of find myself. Being in school for all those consecutive years, and everybody wanting me to do well for myself, I kind of got lost within the mist. And when I took some time off was when I realized that, hey, I have a different plan. And so saying that, I had to trust my process. See, my process had always been, well, I'm gonna go to school, I'm gonna go to college, I'm gonna do it the ordinary way. Well, that's what it was. After I took a break, I kind of learned how to do some mental engineering and how to focus and hone in on certain things. Now, along with that, I take my faith very seriously. There was a time when I was dragged to church. You know, when you were a kid, you had to be there, you know, and you had to wake up and, you know. But as time went by, you know, you always had a personal choice. As I started commuting to church on my own. And when I did that, I learned many lessons that I otherwise wouldn't have learned if I wouldn't have taken the initiation to be there by myself. So, with trusting the process, I came upon something that I did a lot of research on, and that's called the law of attraction. Now, the law of attraction, how I can best sum it up, whatever you consistently focus your energy on and consistently think about, your thoughts will be and will manifest. Okay? I am a firm believer that you are the sum total of your thoughts. Okay? So when I started thinking that I was going to do better, be better, and want better for myself, was when it all came full circle for me, you know, and that's broad, but it's simple as far as I wanted my health and my fitness to be better. So I wake up in the morning and I run and I lift weights, you know. I want certain circumstances to go my way in life. So I'm in church every Sunday, starting my week off right, blessed with prayers. Behind those prayers, I followed up with the work. You know, it's not just, oh, let me get $1,000 tomorrow. No, it's let me get a plan. Let's wake up every morning and work. Let's get home. Let's get rest. Let's get prayer. Within that time, everything will flow smoothly and you'll get your $1,000. So when I came to that realization, trusting my process through the law of attraction is when things started going well for me. I would say so.
Now, you think that some of the things that you're talking about now, do you think that many people within your age range reflect upon some of the things that you're talking about now? And if not, what would you suggest that they do that they might become much more aware of their surroundings, much more aware of their personhood? What would you suggest that they could do? You've got about 2 minutes. What
Okay.
would you suggest that they should do?
I do not think that people within my age group are very aware and conscious of the power of visualization and the law of attraction. See, the thing with the youth today is that they want microwaved success. And what I mean by that is they want everything fast. You can't expect it to microwave. You got to bake your success, okay? Now, everybody wants this overnight success because we have these social medias and they see these people with these nice cars and these nice houses, or you see these people on YouTube and they're getting paid this amount of money for doing this and that, but they're not seeing the overnight grind and they're not seeing the overnight process that it takes. So what I would suggest to today's youth is really just focus in and have a plan, because nothing worth having is going to come easy.
And so, in a real sense, you think that you've evolved in terms of your own consciousness
definitely.
in reference to a number of things, and you would encourage other young people, well, not only young people, I think that some of the things that you're talking about can apply to any group, age group or whatever,
Yes.
and I think that there are some of the things that are eternal. And so what you would encourage those who might be listening this morning is to reflect
Yes.
upon some of the things that you've already said and reflect upon some of the things that, and because I say that because we're going to take our second commercial break, and then we'll come back and we'll have an opportunity to talk about 10 minutes in reference to this, and that's what should give you an opportunity in a real sense to almost look at some of your peers in the eye and talk about them, and that's what we're going to do over the next 10 minutes. We'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break. your age, some information, any kind of information that you can give them about violence and murder and whatever, and et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. Say, okay.
All right, this is just for the next episode.
Uh-huh.
983, it's Pastor Walker and Alexander.
Yeah, Janie Alexander.
Janie Alexander.
And there's the third person in reference to you're with Pastor Walker, right? There's the
Okay,
third
so there'll be
person.
3 people.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I saw Pastor Walker around here somewhere.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, yeah, we got 3 people for that one.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, is Alana going to be having an episode today?
No, she won't be here today.
Okay, so
This is Alana's episode.
Okay.
This is number 10.
Right.
I mean, the first one.
So I've only got 4 episodes there.
You should have 5.
I got 2 with here. I got 982 twice. One with Alana and one with.
Okay, let me see what's missing. We got a packet. It's a packet in there. Where's that?
There's Walker, there's Rainley, there's Hadid,
Uh-huh.
and that's it, because that's Alana.
Uh-huh.
Who else?
If
should
you,
we
if you
have?
could hand me that backpack, I can get
Yeah,
it for
this
you.
is. Let me see. The Miss Greenlee.
I got Greenley.
Okay,
Everything should be in here.
and that should be one. That should be all.
Walker, Rainley,
Okay.
Hadid.
Baldwin, Dr. Baldwin.
Yeah.
He's at noon around.
Right, he's
Yeah.
always kind of the last one.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
Well, we're
very-
good then, as long as I know who's coming in.
Okay. Very. Yeah, we got them all. Now, is that all of them?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Very good.
So this was supposed to be episode 9.
Yeah. This is Lana here.
Yeah,
This.
okay.
Yeah. Okay, Jordan. Now this is that last segment, right?
Yes, sir.
This is okay. So we've got 10 minutes for this segment.
Yes.
Okay, so what we'll do, Jordan, just a minute here, okay? What we'll do, this is the last 10 minutes, and what I'll do is to bring the audience back in with us and give you an opportunity to speak to people within your age category today, to reflect on some of the things that are happening around you and all this, you get up in the morning, you see people shooting and killing each other, et cetera, et cetera. Deal with that kind and give them any kind of information that you think that might be helpful in terms of living a better life and whatever.
Okay.
Good. So let's do that for the last 10 minutes. Are we ready?
Ready, Phil? He's not back.
Okay, no problems. I just didn't want to hold up everything. But you see what we're doing. So you've got 10 minutes, and this should give you an opportunity. I think what you've done, you're excellent, boy. So far, you're doing Atlanta kind of stuff now. But this next 10 minutes, just sort of reflect upon some of the things that you'd like to leave with this audience this morning, and. Thank you, and welcome back to the final segment of the show for today. The guest is Jordan Haney, and he's giving us some information in reference to the process that has to be followed in terms of doing things. And what do you call that process, Jordan?
Trusting the process.
Trusting the process, indicating that there should be a trust in how you do things. And let's give you the last 8 or 10 minutes of this show to speak to some of the people within your age range in terms of how they ought to be able to incorporate into their own lives some of the things that you're talking about here today.
Of course. So like I said earlier, trusting the process. And we're going to break that down. Trust, that is to know for a fact. Process, that's anything. There's steps, okay? So you have to trust and know that the steps in your life, will work out for you in your favor. Trust it. See, a lot of people, the youth in particular, go about day to day, don't really know what's gonna come of it. That's where I think some of the youth violence in Nashville, particularly, is stricken and needs help with, because I don't think that some of these young kids really know what to look forward to, and what tomorrow will hold. They have no trust in their process, whether it's a problem at home, whether things are not going well at school, and it's also we lack a lot of father figures in our neighborhoods and communities nowadays. If I could do anything about it, I would start an organization, and it would focus on the youth in Nashville and trusting the process, the ultimate process, getting these young kids, male and female, black, white, there is no color, no cap, getting them guidance in their lives, really getting them mental engineering. A lot of kids don't know what's up here, all they see is this phones and these tweets and these video games and what they see on TV and these reality stars, it's more than that. That's why I think we have a lot of the violence that we do have, it's video games, it's things being fabricated, in the outside world, and they don't really know what is really real. We need real people in this community to sit down with the youth and be more involved.
And looking over this whole situation, do you think that if many of our young people had an opportunity to become involved in productive activity, that it would go a long way in solving many of the problems, which is to say that if they had a job, there are so many people within your age category. I think when you talk about the African Americans specifically, that you can say that his unemployment rate, especially in your category, is extraordinarily high. And so I believe that, and do you believe that more economic activity, more opportunities for young people to have gainful employment would decrease the number of violence, the violence and other kinds of negative kinds of things? Do you think that that would be helpful?
Of course it would. But the problem with that is the economic opportunities are limited due to the circumstances that the youth have found themselves in. See, when you accumulate these criminal records and you get these negative backgrounds that may not reflect your current situation, just past stupid mistakes, that is what is ultimately going to diminish those economic opportunities. So we have to be there, me in particular, because I think that younger children will look up to a positive role model that's not so, not in their 30s, 40s, but someone like me.
A younger person.
Yes, because I'm teaching them that it's cool to have your head on, and it's cool to say no to drugs. It's cool to have a plan and want good things in your life, And so, like I said, we need to be there so that these things don't happen. A lot of kids are just out here winging it, and the system is out to get them.
You said winging it, huh?
Yeah, they're winging it.
What does it mean in terms of your parlance?
They're day by day, don't really know what's going to come of the day, and they're acting with no thought process. They're not trusting their process. They have no type of conscience about what's going into their next action, and that's a road to destruction, if you ask me. It's a road to destruction. So to stop that, I think that we have to be there beforehand and lay that foundation down, because I think that kids, I mean, they have good intentions, as we all do, I'd like to believe. It's just that when you get in the heat of the moment, you never know what's going to happen, and you instinctively react, and sometimes it's not the right choice. So we need positive role models in our community, such as myself and younger people, you know, to teach these kids, the youth, because they are the next generation, that, hey, you know, it's rough out here. It's hard. We know that. We've been here. I can speak for myself, you know, but we're going to sit them down and we're going to tell them fundamental things that they need to know and learn, you know, as far as being disciplined. You know, a lot of kids, no discipline at all, no type of can't say no. It's a lot of peer pressure out here these days. So we have to teach kids to be disciplined as far as focus, you know, staying, you know, it is like what I said, the law of attraction, you know, focus in on what you want, you know. If you want that starting position on that basketball team, you know what you got to do. You got to go in that classroom and get those grades, because you're not going to start if you don't, you know. And it's really all about piece by piece, laying things down and taking it one step at a time and trusting that process. Yes, sir.
You know, I think that all of these things that we're talking about, mental attitudes and et cetera, I think that we used to summarize it with 3 words that sort of captures everything that we're talking about. And if people could bring these 3 words into their lives, they wouldn't have any problems. They would be able to overcome all obstacles. And it's respect, understanding, and goodwill taken together gives you LOVE, which is to say that love is respect, understanding, goodwill. Anytime you offer respect toward a person, you're giving that person love. Any understanding, you're giving him love. Goodwill, you're giving. And so I think that I think I agree with you in terms of mental attitudes being able to sort of transform the lives of individuals. And I'm encouraged to know that you have an opportunity to meet folks that you might be able to pass some of these things on to.
And one last thing I wanted to touch on as far as the law of attraction, I kind of just want to break that down into 3 easy steps, okay? The first step being ask, okay? All you have to do is ask, you know? Ask of what you want, ask of what it is that you're yearning, okay? Second step, believe, okay? You have to believe that you'll get that. You have to believe that it will come true, you know, through your asking, your belief, and your faith. The third